Hello everyone, it's Rendon. Happy Halloween, happy Spooktober, all of that. I know some people are trying to jump back into Bloodborne again, but I think I'm well and truly off of Bloodborne. I love the game, I love the themes of the game, but if they don't make a new one, or a remake, or remaster the old ones so that we can have a big part of the community jump back into it again, I think I'm just kind of done with it. While I see streamers like Saint, Storyteller doing Bloodborne runs, they're not doing Sinister runs anymore, which was always a big part of October with the Souls community, and the part that I really enjoy, obviously. I won't say that the magic is gone, because that sounds really sad, but it kind of has, you know? I think Elden Ring is currently where all the players are, all the people that are doing invasions, where the activity is. It's still Elden Ring. For how much longer? I don't know. I'm really hoping that the player base and invasions activity will stay for a while, but we're hitting that point that I remember at the end of Dark Souls 3, when everyone was wondering what the next game was. We hadn't heard anything yet. Dark Souls 3 wasn't dying, it wasn't dead, but it was slowing down. And Elden Ring, now that the final big DLC came out, is slowing down. It's getting quieter and quieter. More people are playing other things, and that's good. That's natural. It should be that way. This video is just me wanting to do something fun and not too formal for the season. I love Halloween. It's like my favorite personal holiday. For family and for like big groups, Thanksgiving is the best holiday. But for me, for the themes, for just the season that I enjoy, it's Halloween. I love it. October is phenomenal. It's my favorite month. I still play a good bit of Elden Ring. I will jump in for what I tell myself is like 30 minutes every other day or so to do a couple of invasions. But inevitably I stick around and play for 4 hours because I get a good invasion, so I just want to get that feeling again. Or I don't get a good invasion, and then I don't want to end on that, so I have to keep playing to make that bad invasion a good one. But the difference here is that I'm not searching as a content creator to do anything fancy, or any type of specific build I want to show off. I'm not at that point right now. I think that a lot of the things to tease out of Elden Ring have been teased. Not that you can't come up with interesting things like Gigas or Azael, but a lot of the weapons have been tested. There's been 2+ years of time that people have really had to explore this game. I've used a lot of these weapons, not all of them, but most of the ones that I've been interested in. Eventually I'll make a build with some of the things I haven't used. Maybe I'll make a video about that later on. But I still plan on making pretty regular content updates. It's just going to be a little slower because I do have a child who's coming in the next couple of months. So that's going to upend my life in a pretty good way. But I love Souls. I love being a content creator in Souls. I love having a small platform. It's something I've always wanted. I love the people in this scene, in this community, so I just want to be a part of that as long as I can be. So in this, you're going to see me using a couple of different offhand combinations with different main hand weapons. I wasn't trying to discover anything wild, I was just playing around with different things to see what felt good, what felt fresh, and what worked. A couple of things that stood out to me were the main hand Meteoric Warblade with a sped up R2s after patch 1.14, with offhand Cold Mesmer Soldier Spear. Milady with offhand Dryleaf Arts is really fun. And the last thing is something that I've talked about before, not necessarily this combination, but offhand Beast Claws with the Great Stars in the main hand. That is fun. That is very cool. As I said earlier though, I don't really have a specific narrative or discussion for this. But I did want to talk about two things. I haven't been consuming quite as much Elden Ring content either recently. I will watch streamers like Storyteller, Saint, Rob529, The Dashing Saint, Decker Danger, Makuta. All those people are great. I love watching their streams. It's very fun. It's an easy way for me to get some Elden Ring content, some Invasion content that I can watch at work or just when I have some time. If you're not following them, you definitely should be following them. But when it comes to YouTube discussions, long-form conversations about Elden Ring on why or how it should be better, I've seen enough of that. I'm a little bit tired of that type of content. If you're not, that's great, but I'm a little over it. It's largely negative too, which I just don't really vibe with. I've never really vibed with it. I think we all get the problems with Elden Ring. We've heard it enough times that we know that it's not going to change. So I err towards things that are a bit more positive, or at least constructive. And in that vein, I found 2 creators recently that are pretty good. The first one I'll mention is from a YouTuber named Weirdbones. And Weirdbones is an invader content creator. I think they got something like 70 subscribers, so relatively small, but the content is pretty good. They came out with a video not too long ago that I'll link in the description below. Essentially, they were invading and throwing themselves against the same gank over and over again. I think they fought them like 5 times or something like that before they finally won in the end. The main point that Weirdbones was making in that video is that so much of Elden Ring, so much of the mechanics, the types of players, situations, and just deadly spam that you come against means there's only so much that your skill and your progression can do for you, especially against prepared groups. And if you're tying your sense of learning and accomplishment to your win rate, you're going to have a bad time. The odds are completely against you, and one mistake, even at 60 plus, 70 plus vigor, can get you killed instantaneously. There are multiple builds running around on YouTube right now that people can just copy, which would easily 2-shot Invader with that much vigor, which is just ridiculous. With 3 people running those, that's an easy death in less than a second, or around a second, and there's not a lot of times that you can do. So if you're a newer invader, this can feel pretty bad, right? You can follow all of the invaders, the content creators that put stuff out about how to do invasions, learn all there is to learn. But then when you die 4 times in a row, coming against the same people over and over again, running you down, and it doesn't feel like you're improving, doesn't feel like you're increasing your win rate, that can be really discouraging. And you might start to reasonably wonder why anybody would do this. That is a good question. That is a very good question. It's fun. I promise it's fun. It doesn't seem like it all the time, but it is. You need to find something else to gauge your progression in invasions in Elden Ring, besides just win rate. Are you improving your ability to get backstabs? Are you improving your skills to land parries? Are you learning new weapon combinations and true combos, pseudo combos? Do you feel more comfortable fighting one-on-one? What is your ability to take down phantoms in a timely fashion? Is your build doing enough damage? If you don't want to play with something meta, is your off-meta build still reasonably good? You will improve when you're fighting in invasions, but if you're going up against ganks at meta level, you shouldn't think about your losses as some sign of regression, or that you're not progressing at the rate you should be, because you probably are. Especially if you're doing invasions and trying to at least learn a little something from your losses every time, you probably are getting better. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to translate to a win every single time. That creates enough of a segue for me, though, to talk about the other YouTuber I wanted to discuss, Gred Glintstone. Gred seems to be more of a challenge runner on the PvE side in this game, and I'm not going to go through the entire video. It's about 40 minutes long. It's really good, though, so I'll link it down in the description with Weirdbones below as well. One small thing I will talk about from what I watched is Gred discussing gamers and cognitive dissonance. Why, if you have 2,000 hours in Elden Ring, are you still losing to the same boss 20 times? You've been invading since Demon Souls, so why are you still losing to this gank over and over again? Why are you still losing to these players in invasions over and over again? I play Elden Ring a lot, so why do I still die? It's the sense that your perceived skill doesn't line up with what's actually happening in the game. And this can really, really harm a person's confidence in power fantasy, especially in something like Souls, where oftentimes players spend a lot of time already quote-unquote getting good. So when that's ripped away from them, it feels all the more bad. I actually think that this gets to the heart of a lot of the problems people have with invasions in Souls, and in Elden Ring in particular. People feel that when they're being beaten by another real live person, that their agency is being taken away, that something has been violated. If you're an invader and you're fighting multiple people who are using really spammy builds that just kill you and teabag you, you also kind of feel like that you shouldn't have had that lost. You feel like something's been stripped away from you. That win by them wasn't earned. When you look at videos of players like G9 and Stilovsky, even with their high win rate and skill, they still lose. Moreover, playing the ways they do to maintain that reputation that they have seems to make them genuinely enjoy the game less. I'm not saying this to throw shade at them, but don't make it more stressful on yourself to feel like you have to live up to that, because it's just a recipe to hate this game and your time spent in it. Sometimes there's just things you can't control and you can't overcome. And the less stressful way to perceive your sense of skill, whether it be PvE or PvP, is to track the little things that you improve. And I think over time, as you track those little things, you will see that you perform better in invasions. And if you're performing better, you will feel better. And that's a loop that will feed back on itself. You choose your feedback loop in invasions and Elden Ring overall is what I'm trying to get at. That's all I have to talk about. I hope you enjoyed some of the spookier themes, or at least the spookier music to this, and these invasions. There's a couple more clips after this. I think there's one longer one. So feel free to stick around and watch, or just leave now if you want to. It's up to you, either way, obviously. Hope you all have a very, very, very spooky and fun Halloween. All right, peace.